What is up, people? Akira here again with a follow-up vid for my chain cast tutorial. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll go ahead and link it for you guys in the description. You will need to know a lot of the information from that first video in order to understand this one. So if you haven't already seen it, it's about 5-6 minutes long. Feel free to check it out in the description below. Just as a quick refresher, most of that video does just separate a lot of the spells in the game by tier. And in today's video, we're going to be showing you how to organize all of these spells. This is mostly supposed to be kind of like a formula. And it's part of the reason why you never see me post like intros that show what spells and things like that I'm going to be using in the beginning. I am the all-knowing. There are no spells that I can't use with the exception of Arcane. So with all of that information out of the way, let's move on to the video. Rule number 1 is very simple. The order in which you place your spells matters. They matter because by holding the up button on the D-pad, you are allowed to recycle down to the very first spell. This means no matter what spell you are currently casting, you can always chain back to the very first spell and then attack with it. Chain resetting is what we'll call this, and it's part of the reason why I organize my spells the way I do. As you can see on the screen, I have 3 spells in the top left, 3 spells in the top right, and 3 spells in the bottom left. If you look, the first 3 spells I have are Bestial Sling, Wrath of Gold, and a Duelist Moonblade. We will call these my close range spells. Next is Triple Rings of Light, Thorn Sorcery, and of course my favorite Death spell. These will be classified as my mid to long range spells. With just these 6 spells alone, I typically have my bases covered from close range, extremely close range with Bestial Sling and Wrath of Gold, mid range with a Duelist Moonblade and Triple Rings of Light, and then mid to far range with the Thorn Sorcery and my Rings of Spectral Light. Those 2 spells go even further out. And then for even more reach, which is maximum distance, we're going to have our Light of Mikola for our long range punish. I do typically shuffle around spells with these last few slots and use them for utility. This is where you might see like buffs and other things like that. The reason for this order is mostly because combat is very difficult for mages up close, so you want the close range abilities to be extremely versatile, so you can use them in a lot of situations. Since I do not have an R1, since we don't really use like an actual weapon, there are a lot of like versatility options missing from my toolkit, and that's why I typically shuffle around. The 3 spells that will typically always stay are a Duelist Moonblade, Wrath of Gold, and Bestial Sling, because those are my bread and butters. They are my close range powerhouses to keep my character safe. Again, we're a mage, so we want our close range to be something that we can really rely on heavily. Otherwise, you'll typically just get rolled over by like warriors with great swords and colossal weapons just walking forward, spamming crouch poke. With the release of Shadow of the Erdtree, though, we got a lot of mid to long range spells added into the game. So while my close range spell rotation has not been touched, my mid to long range spell rotation is always being shuffled around. And this is part of the reason why you don't really see me posting vids, because genuinely speaking, I'm still figuring out like what works best with the build. And I haven't actually found anything that is better than my old mid to long range rotation. I'm still looking for stuff. I'm not going to give up just yet. I haven't used all of these spells in all of their situations that they can be used in, so I'm still hopeful. So the last thing left for us to cover is the theory, and that is you should have your close range spell first, because when you are in danger, you're going to need it fast. Danger does not wait. If it is real danger, it is going to be quick and imminent. With that being said, you will always see my first 3 spells being close range, my second 3 set of spells being mid to long range, and my last set of spells being either extremely long range or utility, depending on what I'm doing. Sometimes it's invasion, sometimes it is cooperative play, sometimes it is like me being a hunter. Depending on the situation, those last 2 slots, the utility slots, will usually change. So I hope you now understand the methodology behind how I cast as fast as I do. Practice always makes perfect or as close to perfect as you are capable of getting. Even I still make mistakes while chain casting. And this is why you kind of want to just remember the formula. You don't have to go into combat with your first spell. If you're not in combat, you can shuffle through your spells freely. It is when you are in the thick of combat that shuffling through spells becomes rather difficult. And that's when you want to just be able to hold up on the D-pad, cycle down, and at least always have your first 3 spells memorized by feel. Know when you reset so that you can instantly cast and chain cast, weaving the first 3 spells together. And this about wraps up everything I wanted to talk to you guys about in this vid. If you are confused or anything, or something needs more clarification, please feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.